Welcome, welcome, welcome. In today's video, we're not talking EDC, we're talking Rubik's Cubes. What's the difference? What's a good cube? What's a bad cube? I don't have all the cubes that are out there. There's a good chunk, but I have enough to kind of get a spread of what's going on here. And to start things off, this is the atrocious one that makes all professional cubers cringe. This is a Dollar Tree Rubik's Cube. This sucker turns barely, has zero corner cutting whatsoever. You are just a little bit off. That will not turn. These are very stiff. You have to do wrist turns to be able to do anything. And sometimes you have to go clockwise only. You can't go counterclockwise on some turns. These suckers, they're $1, but I do not recommend buying these if you are wanting to get started with speed cubing or just solving a Rubik's Cube in general. Only buy these for your speed cuber friends and you want to give them something to cringe about. So we'll set that off to the side here. Dollar Tree Rubik's Cube, forget about it. Don't bother with that. I know it's tempting. It's only $1. Don't buy it. It is so much pain to try to turn, and if you are just learning how to do a cube, it's going to turn you away from speed cubing or just puzzle cubing at all in general. Just forget about it. Only buy these as pranks for those of your friends that do speed cubing. Buy them that to get a good laugh. That's the only purpose those suckers are good for. So next up, $5 Walmart Speed Cube. I do not have an official Rubik's brand cube here. I haven't gotten my hands on one yet, but I can tell from having turned a few at Goodwills and such that this $5 one that you can buy from Walmart, brand is Nexcube, Nexcub. This is a fantastic beginner's cube. If you've never done a cube before and you want to start with a halfway decent cube that you don't have to do wrist turns, you can just do finger tricks to work it. $5 and you've got yourself a Nexcube, and it's fantastic. Now, the Nexcube, we'll get into some of this. I'm going to get into these next three, this cube and the next two, as to why they are good and why some are better. Up next is a Moyu RS35M, very good cube. Sounds a little different. You may be able to tell. I don't know if you can. Different sounds there, but we'll get into that. My favorite cube, this is a budget GAN cube. This is the cheapest cube from the brand GAN, GAN. And this is my all-time favorite cube for the ones that I have tried. Now there's a couple of these that I think would be better and I would enjoy more. We'll get into that later. But these three cubes, if you are new to cubing and you want to start doing cubes, which one should you buy? And I would recommend, for an all-time beginner, I recommend the Walmart Nexcube. Because this is the gauntlet. Can you take a scrambled up cube like this and solve it? If you can solve a Rubik's Cube and be able to do it with consistency and some enjoyment, then you can move on to the next level up. And I'm doing a few solves here to show off what I've done. Yes, I'm kind of showing off, but show that, you know, these cubes can be solved. Gotta focus for a second here. I don't do good at multitasking. I either do one or I do the other. And that sets it up to that, which we then do this, and cube is solved. So Buy the Walmart Next Cube for $5. Learn to solve the cube, and then upgrade. And I'll tell you why you probably ought to consider upgrading. This cube here has 6 springs that keep tension on all the sides here to keep them from falling apart. There is no magnets in anywhere, and you may wonder, why does a cube need magnets? We'll get into that in just a moment. There's no magnets here, so you can end up overshooting, undershooting turns. It can be a bit of a nightmare, and it tends to, when you're holding it, it tends to twist on you when you're holding it and can kind of snag on you. And that's good for just learning the cube and learning algorithms. But if you want to upgrade and try to speed things up, even if you're not going world competition speed cubing and you just want to see how fast you can go personally, you know, upgrade maybe to a Moyu RS35M. These cubes go for about 20 bucks. And these are very good cubes. This one particularly is maglev. So instead of springs holding tension here in this cube, we have, instead of 6 springs, we have 12 magnets. And the magnets are pushing against each other, creating this tension here that keeps the cube together. And then on top of that, if I believe, because I can tell by the way it snags here, it's been a while since I've looked into this, but inside the corners here, like right in here, inside these pieces, there are magnets that will grab as you're turning the cube and can help minimize overshooting. It can still happen if you like shoot for the middle here, but it helps you just grab that spot better. And when you're doing speed solves of the cube, the magnets hold the other layers that you're not turning together better. I won't say it holds it 100%. Every now and then your finger will slip and you'll twist a little bit here, but as long as you're just holding the cube normally, unlike the next cube here, the magnets will hold this together more square on. That'll allow you to perform faster solves. Something else I should mention here is all 3 of these have relatively the same corner cutting. And what is corner cutting? When you're solving the cube, you can't always turn when the pieces are directly over top of each other here. Sometimes you gotta cut the corner a little bit, and that can save you time on speed solves. And like this Dollar Tree cube here, there is no corner cutting whatsoever. That's just not going anywhere. The Walmart cube, you can go over and it'll still pop in place for you up to a certain point. I mean, there comes a point where physically you cannot do it, but you know, it does give you some elbow room to work with. The Moyu has really good corner cutting, and the GameCube has really good corner cutting. Very nice. Now, why do I like this cube the best of all the cubes that I have? It's not maglev like the Moyu. I would like to upgrade to a maglev again, but the magnets that you see here in the corners are a lot stronger than the magnets on the Moyu. And that really just helps to hold the cube together when I'm doing solves. It just holds together so much better. And then this is a very light cube. The Moyu is a little bit heavier, feels good in the hand. And then the GAN goes back to being a little bit lighter, somewhere in between these two. And it's just a sweet spot for me. It just feels so good in hand. And then these two are very, very glossy in their coating, which can be a little slippery at times. This is kind of a little bit more of a glossy, semi-gloss, almost a matte finish. And it gives you more grip when you're turning the cube. And it just feels nice. The black internals give this little background shadow to the pieces. It just looks nice. And the magnets just work wonderfully on this. It's just so fantastic. I love this cube. And this is the budget cube. The GAN 14 that just released last month has like, it's stronger magnets yet that you can adjust the tension of has maglev, magnetic levitation here in the middle for the 6 centerpieces. It looks so sweet. But for those of you that are just starting cubing, what cube should you get? I would say get any of these. But I would recommend starting off with Walmart Next Cube. If you don't have a Walmart, you can probably find Next Cubes online and buy them online. I recommend getting that and learn the cube. If you decide to give up on the cube, you're only out $5. If you decide to continue, well, now you've got some experience to go on how to continue, like, improving what you've learned. I would almost recommend skipping the MOU, because I feel the budget GAN cube, this is like the R53. I'm not, they're weird with their numbers. I do apologize for this. But if you look up GAN cubes at speedcubeshop.com, this is the cheapest GAN cube. It's fantastic. I love it. It's wonderful. It's about the only thing that I solve with. And a little fun tip, leave them out in your car during the day. Like when you're out and around town during the day in your car, leave these in the car and they get warm, and they just feel so much better when they're warm. They move smoother. They just feel so good when they're warmed up. They're great right now. Like right now I'm at home and these feel really good. But, you know, there's something about them being warmed up in the car. It just makes them feel better. I don't know what it is, but it's just something to consider. So, also, you're going to see people recommending lubes for the cubes. I cannot speak for Speed Cube Shop lubes because I have not bought any yet. But I have a bottle of 3-in-1 oil that you can get from Lowe's. It's kind of like a thicker WD-40. And I put like a few drops in on one side, a few drops in on the other, and just twist it and twist it and twist it for a little bit. And it just, my cubes work really, really smoothly with 3-in-1. I would like to try the Martian lubes that Speed Cube Shop has, but I haven't tried those yet. Also, the GAN cube comes with this nice little case here that you can pop it away and keep the dust off of it. So, avoid Dollar Tree cubes. Also, this one's like way bigger than the others. It feels weird in the hand to be that big. But they are so stiff. They're hard to turn. They are not for beginners. Do not buy the cheapest cube you find for a beginner. Add $4 and you get a Walmart cube that is wonderful to have. This is like my first proper cube. And I just love it a lot. It's fantastic. But the one problem with this is when you're holding it and you're trying to go really fast, you end up pushing with your bottom finger, and you end up pushing these pieces over to the point where they don't corner cut, and that can be a bugger. Get something with magnets in it. Whether it's maglev or springs inside, I would prefer maglev. But, you know, even spring tensioned pieces are fantastic. But buy something that has magnets inside that helps with holding the cube straight when you're solving it. So, with that said, I hope you found this video useful, informational. Hope it helps your speed cubing, get your speed cubing up to your standards. And until the next time, farewell, carry well, and bye-bye.